All right, I think we're live now. So good evening, everybody. Give me a minute here to get situated and get hopefully logged in here so I can see what's going on. Give me just 1 second. Almost there. Guess while I'm doing this, if I can do two things at one time here. Always gotta. Oh, sorry, I gotta look out here. Here we go. I can't do two things at one time apparently. All right, so before I get into chatting with everybody here, let me just give the disclaimers I normally do. If this is your first time here, this is a weekly live broadcast we do pretty much every Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central Time. Sometimes things get in the way, I can't make it, but most of the time I'm here 7 o'clock Central on Thursday evenings. And I don't have anything planned out as a topic. This is just an Ask Me Anything session. We just spend some time chatting through, the chats that come up in here in the the live chat. There we go. I just do my best to answer all those comments that come through, all those chats that come through. So just the only thing I ask is keep it family friendly, be polite, don't be rude to anybody, don't start cussing, don't, any of those kinds of things. We'll boot you out if we have to. And hopefully we don't have to. We do have a special drawing going tonight. We're giving away the free eggs, 100 free eggs. If you were on the video, if you left the comments on the video, you'll be qualified for that. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. We're going to give everybody a little bit of time to get into the live broadcast with us. So let's see who we got here. Hey, Hatch Poultry Farms is here. Lauren, hello to you. And let's see. Lauren says, boy, do I have a rabbit question for you tonight, Chris. Well, ask away and I will do my best to answer it for you. Hopefully I can come up with a good answer. With an introduction like that, it makes me a little nervous. Maybe you're going to stump me. Who knows? So who we got here? Brittany Olson. Oh, Brittany says you got questions too, Brittany. Okay. Well, hey, ask away. I'll do my best to get to them. Let's see. Lauren and Hatch says, yeah, we just saw they will be going out next week. What did we just see? What did I miss? All right. Well, who knows? We'll get there. All right. Hello to you, Lahib. I think it is. Hopefully I got your name right. All right. Brad Smith is here. Clifton Brown, Hannah, Jamie. Hello. Oh, Jamie says hola. So hola to you. Where are we going here? Sharon says, anyone else have a doe who stomped older kits 3 weeks old to death? Broke every bone in their bodies. I saved 3 of the 7 and removed the doe and the babies lived. I can't say that I've ever had that happen, Sharon. I'm sorry to hear that. Stomped 3-week-old kits. That's kind of rare for them, especially that old. I mean, I can understand it happening with newborns, accidentally, those kinds of things, or even, a doe that gets a little bit nervous for some reason, gets aggressive. But 3 weeks old is definitely a little bit old. I think I would, if it's a first-time mom, you might give her one more chance. But, with that kind of behavior, I'd be real reluctant to breed her again myself. No, it's never happened to me. I've never had that problem. So, all right, who is here? Medlin Family Farm, hello to you. And Kurt Stewart, hello. Says, how's everything? Everything's going well, thank you. And Trinier, hopefully I got your name right, says, hi from Oz. I think that may be Australia, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that's what that means. Hello to you. Thanks for joining us all the way from over there. And King Coop, hello to you. Okay, Brittany says, Chris, I did my first breeding with our very first rabbits. He had never bred before, and I got 3 fall off. If everything is good, should I consider them bred? Could he have missed? If he got 3 fall offs, chances are, yes, everything's good. I would expect her to be pregnant. Give her 30 days, put the nest box in, be ready for babies. They're rare for, a buck's probably not going to fall off if he missed. Like you said, that's a good sign that it was a successful breeding. If you got 3 fall offs, you probably got a pregnant rabbit. So I would plan on it. I'd be ready for it. I'd be very surprised if you didn't have babies in about 30 days. All right. Where are we at here? Good evening to you, G. Michael Jr. Braden says, hello, it's Braden. Well, hey, Braden, how are you? And William Chapman, hello, Chris from Alabama. I have a set of 35 in the incubator in lockdown. I'm not feeling too sure about this one. I think I have one starting to go bad. Oh, no, that's not good. Depending on where they're at in the incubation process, you can candle them and you might be able to pick out the bad eggs. So, I would say, anytime, I usually don't candle until right before I go into lockdown. But if you think you've got one going bad, like you can smell it, something like that, maybe a good time to do that. You anytime after about 6-7 days or something like that, you should be able to candle them. If it glows like a light bulb, then it's not a good egg to incubate, and you should pull it out of there probably. You shouldn't. You'll be able to see a little bit. I mean, it's really hard to candle quail eggs. You stick a really bright light on them. Again, if it just glows like a light bulb and you can see all the way through it, then it's a bad egg. Probably throw it out and get rid of those. That would be my suggestion with that, because if it is a bad egg, you don't want it to go completely bad, explode, crack, anything like that, spread bacteria throughout the rest of your hatch. Excuse me. So hopefully you figure that out pretty quick and get that resolved. Where are we at here? Lord Drell says, hello, Chris and all. Hello to you. Cruel Intention says, hi, brother. Keep up the great videos. God bless you and yours. Have a great night. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. God bless you, too, and hopefully you have a good night. All right, Lahib says, sold 21 from the 51 remaining quails for $100, or for a 100, I think that's $100. That covered the feed for the quails that I sold and the ones I kept, 25 females and 5 males for the 2 months and then some. That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. If I remember right, I think we were talking about trying to sell quail, a couple of live broadcasts ago, about maybe looking at some people that like falconers and those kinds of things. So I guess that means you found somebody to buy some birds. So great. I do try occasionally to sell some birds from some of my hatches to help cover the feed cost. And usually you can do a pretty decent job of covering your feed costs by selling them. But I haven't yet found anybody that's a real steady supply. So good. I hope that works out well for you. He goes on to say, and also fed the button quails, 20 plus of them, for free, which I sold their eggs for 20 so far. It's getting there. I almost recovered all the cost I put into the project. Yeah, that's fantastic news. I'm glad to hear that. Congratulations. Well done. Jimmy says, hello, Chris. Haven't been in a while. Sorry. Great video. And, great video on the newspaper history. Well, thanks. I'm glad you liked that video. Yeah, that's, just something I've done for quite a while now, is save newspapers for any kind of, important event that goes on in my life or historic event. I always grab a copy of the newspaper and just store it away. And, like I said, it's always nice to kind of just thumb through those every great once in a while. And, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. It's kind of funny how you just, I don't know, time goes by. You forget about things, you look back at the newspaper, and then just suddenly it's all right back to you. It's just, I don't know, it's a neat experience. All right, GM says, hello, Chris. 20 hatched if around 40 good eggs. Wait. 20 hatched if, I think it's probably 20 hatched of around 40 good eggs. Thanks for the tip. Well, hey, no problem. Congratulations on your hatch, by the way. That's, it's about a 50% hatch rate. That's not terrible at all. Nothing to be complaining about. Keep practicing. I'm sure you're going to get even better results out of the next hatch. So good job. All right, Sharon. Okay. I had to look back up and see what we were talking about before because I couldn't remember. Says the doe is already culled. This is her second litter. And she stomped them. Yeah, I think you probably made the right choice, is to go ahead and call her out. That's what I would do with her too. All right, Hannah says, how are you? I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Lars says hello. Hello to you, Lars. Hatch Poultry says, we have 5,200 eggs in the hatcheries right now. We normally get about 94% hatch rate. Not only get about a 94% hatch rate here, hope we get lots that hatch. Well, Hatch Poultry, I hope they do too. 5,200 eggs. Can you imagine dealing with 5,200 quail chicks? That's a lot. I hope you get a great hatch rate, though. Good luck. All right, Lauren says, so I have a doe that just weaned 12 kits. As I was taking her out of the cage, I noticed a huge lump. It is mastitis. It's almost the size of a golf ball. Should I get a needle through it and try to drain it and then shoot some antibiotics in there? And how many cc's of LA200 in antibiotic per pound of rabbit? I'm thinking 1/2 cc per 10 pounds. Boy, you are putting me on the spot with this one here. So let's see. She just weaned 12 kids. Okay. So she doesn't have, she's not nursing any babies right now. Then yes, I would definitely get in there, drain that out. Definitely get some antibiotics in her to treat that. That can be a bad thing. As far as how many, I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up. You can probably just do a quick Google search and figure that out quicker than I can find the information on it myself. I'm sorry I can't answer that part for you, but yeah, I would definitely get that treated pretty quickly. Mastitis can be a bad thing. Um, you might keep an eye on her too. See, hopefully it's not like a reoccurring issue. It doesn't keep happening. A lot of the times that can be caused by just some kind of injury that they have. I hear people talk about problems with like wire nest boxes or things like that. They get a scratch, and then it ends up getting infected, turns into mastitis. I have never had that problem myself, but it is kind of something. I think some animals are just more prone to it than others. So especially once she's had it, she may be more prone to getting it again. So I would keep an eye on her. Hopefully, it's not a recurring issue. If it is, you may have to look at getting a new rabbit for. But yeah, I would definitely go ahead and treat her. Hopefully, that answers that well enough for you. Again, I can't tell you the exact dosage. I think you're probably pretty close, but I don't know. I'd have to look it up and see. All right, Wallace Family Homestead says, hi there, just hatched some baby quail. Thanks a lot for your tips. Love the channel. Well, thank you so much. King Coupade says, I'm getting my first tan Flemish after 1 year. Well, congratulations. Hopefully it's a great rabbit for you. I personally don't really care for Flemish Giants or Flemish Giant mixes as a meat rabbit. To me, they're not terrible, but it's just not what I prefer. I prefer other breeds over them. To me, their babies grow out a little bit too slow. They tend to not have really big litters, but there's exceptions to every rule too. And I know there's plenty of people in here that have talked about having Flemishes and them being fantastic meat rabbits. So again, there's exceptions to that. Just my experience with Flemishes, they didn't make good meat rabbits. But hey, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want, go for it. Congratulations. Glad you're getting the rabbit that you're wanting. Hey, Boris, how are you? Good to see you. Joni says, made the live show. Well, thanks for making it. I appreciate that. All right. Mason Pieri says, hi, Chris. I'm 13 years old, and I just hatched quail. I have chickens, free-range ducks, and rabbits. Nice. So you've got a pretty big lot to take care of there. Hopefully they're all doing really, really well. And congratulations on your hatch. All right, Owen Miller. Hi, how you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. Hopefully you are too. All right. Brittany said the same thing as me. Holy cow, hatch 5,200. That's a lot of birds. It is a whole lot. And I don't know, Matthew. I don't know what that means. You got a little. What is that? A little face of somebody blowing their nose. I don't know what that is exactly, but anyway. Kathy Hampston. Good evening to you. Outside in Georgia, good evening. King Coop says, I was the person who had a negative 40, and it's been a week now, and it's only -1 and -7, and it's going to be like that until spring. Yeah, I remember talking about that. Yeah, I remember talking about that. Well, I'm glad it's warmed up a little bit, but yeah, you've got a long way till spring. Wintertime, this is the time of year, especially really actually about the next month, about a month from now, is about the time of year where I'm like, good grief, is winter ever going to end? And it's really just now starting. Our coldest months are January and February usually, and sometimes into March. But we've got snow predicted for tomorrow. Probably won't be a lot of snow. We've had just very little so far this year. It's been a really mild winter. But they do say this is our best chance of getting some snow so far. They predicted it a couple of times and said maybe there's a slight chance, and we got just very little light dusting. That was it. But this time they're saying this is our best chance probably to get any kind of snow. But still, even then, it's not going to be over maybe a ½ inch, and it's going to be like 32, 33 degrees Fahrenheit tomorrow, something like that. So it's not too bad. All right, Hannah says, how do you take your coffee? Believe it or not, I don't drink coffee. I just never developed the habit. I make coffee every morning because my wife likes it. But I don't drink the stuff. It's just, I haven't had a cup of coffee in probably 15 years. I don't know. Something like that. Ashton says, hello from the Dickens family farm in Tyler, Texas. I know exactly where Tyler is. Well, you probably knew this, but I used to live in Nacogdoches, so I've been to Tyler many times. Hello to you. All right. Fabian says, hello, I have a question. Why do my hens eat their eggs? Oh, boy. Could be a couple of reasons for that. If you've got a really low protein level in your feed, and really low by that I mean anything about 20% or under, then it might be that they're eating their eggs for that reason. It could be just boredom. It could be that they just for some reason learn to eat their eggs, and that's why they're eating their eggs. It could be that your calcium levels are a little bit low. So they're eating the egg shell to get the extra calcium, 1% calcium. As long as you got about 1.5% calcium, that's probably not the issue. And your protein levels, if you, like I said, if you're below 20% or below, that may be part of the issue. You can try bumping that up to 25 or 26% if you can find that kind of feed. That might help curb them a little bit. My best suggestion on that too, though, is try to collect the eggs as soon as they lay them. Not as soon, but as quick as you can after they lay them. Now, you may not be having your hens eating your eggs. What you may be getting, especially if your birds have just started laying, is eggs that were laid with like a really soft shell or no shell at all, and they just happen to be trampling them, or the egg just deflated for whatever reason, and you may think they're actually eating their eggs when they're not. So those are just a couple of things to consider. Those are pretty common types of eggs to get with birds when they first start laying. It's nothing to worry about. It's going to resolve itself, but it is a pretty common thing. So those are a couple of suggestions I have for that. I have heard of people, taking eggs and tapping a hole in each side, blowing them out, and filling them up with like mustard or something like that. When your birds peck into that, then they quickly realize eggs are not good to eat, and it kind of breaks the habit. So you can try that too. But there are a few reasons why birds would eat their own eggs, but those are the most common. So hopefully I got that addressed for you. All right, Hatch Poultry says, yeah, it was it is a lot of birds. Okay. We do a large hatch like that every couple of months, and we do smaller hatches about 600 to 1,200 each week. Yeah, that's still a lot of birds. A whole lot to take care of. All right, Teddy says, hey, Chris, how's it going? Just hatched 76 out of 91 quail. Not a bad hatch rate. No, that's not bad at all. That's pretty good. Congratulations and well done. All right. Medlin Family Farm says, we just finished our first hatch of chicken eggs. We're going to be hatching quail next, our first time. What's the incubation period and recommended temperature and humidity for quail? It's the same temperature and humidity as what you would do with chicken eggs. So that's, assuming you've got like if you've got a forced air incubator, it's going to be 99.5 degrees. If you've got a still air incubator, or 101 degrees, same temperature you incubate chicken eggs at. I always keep my humidity fairly low, 50% or so for the first, up until they go into lockdown. And then when they go into lockdown, I try to bump that up to about 70%. Try not to go too much higher than 70%, because, much higher than that can be bad for them, of course. But again, it's pretty much the same as what you incubate chickens. The difference is that they're going to incubate for less time. So they'll go into lockdown usually on day 14. Sometimes you can do it on day 15. They should start hatching out about day 17 to day 18, but it's not uncommon for them to go all the way up to day 20 or 21 even, for a few to start hatching that late. The majority of them are probably going to be on day 17. That's when you should probably expect most of them to hatch. So hopefully I got that covered for you. I have a whole series on hatching eggs. If you've hatched chicken eggs out, it's really the same process. It's just you go into lockdown at a different time. That's really about it. Hopefully I got that dressed for you good. All right. But anyway, if you do want to watch my series on that, you can go back to my YouTube homepage, and I've got a playlist on storing and hatching eggs, and there's a whole series there on hatching quail eggs and storing them, and all that kind of stuff. Then you can watch through all those videos, and quite a few tips in there. I go into a little bit more detail on it. All right, King Coop says, make a vlog channel. I would watch that all the time, and also you should stream on Twitch or a streaming, I think is what that is, based website. Well, thanks, King Coop. I appreciate that. I don't know that I have the time to make another channel. Oh, hi, Max. Dog came in here to see me. I don't know that I have time to make another channel and keep up with another channel. I've just got too many things going on right now. Don't know that I'm necessarily the guy to do vlogs either. It's just not my deal. I get on here and talk about what I had for dinner, or it would be just incredibly boring probably. So I try to add in some life into my channel every once in a while, just normal life that's going on. I know I need to do a better job of those kinds of things. But most of the time, I'm a teacher by nature, so that's what I usually do, is teaching type videos. But I try to branch that out a little bit, give you guys something interesting to watch, learn a little bit more about me. I do feel like I connect with you guys. Hopefully you feel like you're connecting with me too, because that's really what I like doing about this, is being able to connect with everybody on here. So, all right. G. Michael Jr. says, did you have to do much convincing for the missus to be okay with you raising quail and rabbits? I'm wondering how you started that conversation with my wife. Well, actually, G. Michael, I was raising rabbits and quail when I met her. So, we've only been married about 3 years, not quite 3 years, going on 3 years. And when we started dating, I was already raising rabbits and quail. So, no, I didn't have to convince her uh, to let me do that. And she actually likes them, so it's not that big of a deal at all. As far as convincing your wife to let you do that, I don't know your wife, so I can't tell you the best way to do that. I can tell you probably good ways not to do that would be, anyway, we won't get into all that. But I'm sorry I can't help you with that one much. I just don't have the way to tell you. All right, Sherry says, I ordered 60 eggs from Hatch Poultry Farm through Dawson. Only 12 hatched and three died just after hatching. Needless to say, I'm not too happy. Boy, that's terrible to hear. But look at that. Hatch Poultry's right there saying, Sherry, so sorry to hear that. We guarantee a 50% hatch rate, at least, on all orders. Please contact us, and we'll reship eggs for free. Might have just been a bad batch or a bad hatch. Sometimes that happens. We'll reship. We will reship completely free to you next week. Good grief, I had a hard time getting that out. But what great service there, huh? So first of all, if you guys don't know, we are giving away 100 free eggs. It is sponsored by Hatch Poultry Farms. And look at that, they're jumping right in there. They guarantee a 50% hatch rate on all their shipped eggs. So there you go. They're going to reship those eggs for free. You can't ask for much better than that. All right, Iggy the Iguana says, I have Flemishes, and they're better house rabbits than food. Super lazy. Oh, they're better. Okay, you got Flemishes. Yeah, I've heard that about Flemishes, that they make really good pets, that they're mellow and easy to handle. And I've heard that about them. I don't raise pet rabbits, so I can't really say for sure. And then Sherry says, oh, Dawson, that's awesome, and thanks for standing behind your product and eggs. Yeah, one thing I will tell you guys about that is, you can't really, you're dealing with a live product. There's so many variables that can go into that. Who knows? Maybe the Postal Service, set the eggs outside on the back bumper and left them there for a couple of hours while, in below freezing temperature, and they froze solid. That's definitely going to affect your hatch rates. So you can't blame that all on the supplier itself. But again, he's standing right behind his product, so you can't complain about that. That's a great service. All right. Gadeness Chickens. I'm not sure. Gadeness's? I don't know if I guess that's your name. I don't know. Either way, it says, hi, just hatched my first quail batch, but now they're so cute, I'm afraid to butcher them. Yeah, that can be tough for sure. I don't have a good trick for that. With rabbits, when people say they're so cute, I can't butcher them. I say, well, just pick them up, and hold them in your arm and let them scratch the heck out of you. Makes it a little bit easier to do, but quail are not that. You can't even do that with quail. I don't know the trick to get over that. That's a tough one. All right, Jay Falky says, greetings from Scotland. Love the channel and keep quail. Your tips have been invaluable. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for the kind words there, and from joining us all the way from Scotland. It's got to be like midnight or something there, right? Crazy late. So thanks for staying up late with us. All right. Yeah. There's some conversation here. So Brittany Olson says, great great customer service, Hatch. You got a loyal customer here. Fantastic. And Hatch Poultry's telling Sherry, we will make your order 75 eggs as well, all free to you. We stand behind our quail fully. We only want to have the best hatches possible with us. Fantastic. Glad to hear it. All right. Michelle says, hey, Chris, how you been? Hope all is well. Well, everything's going pretty well for me. Thank you very much. Hopefully you're doing well, too. I was just checking the time, make sure it didn't get away with us. We got to do a drawing here in a little while. All right. Luis says, hello. Keep up the good work. Learning a lot from your channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, Michelle, good evening. I just started my first batch of quail eggs in the incubator. Today is day 3, and I'm excited to see how this works. I've been referring to your videos to help me know what to expect. Well, good luck with your hatch. Hope it goes well. That's the hardest part. It's day 3, and you've got to wait, another 2 weeks almost to get any birds out of there. But yeah, I'm sure they're going to do great. So hang in there. All right, TH55269 says, does rye neck develop later or right at hatch? Had a quail hatch a couple of days late, was perfectly fine until day 3. Its neck started curving left. A couple days later, legs started sticking out straight. That's a little bit odd for them to go that long. Here's what I find. Usually, the birds that hatch really late, a lot of the times they're not developed as well as the other birds do. There's a reason why they maybe hatched late is because they weren't developing at the right rate. Maybe they were sitting in a cooler spot in the incubator. They developed a little slower, something like that. And they usually do, not usually, but if you're going to have problems, it's usually with those birds that developed a little bit late. And it's things like splay leg and wry neck. Usually I find that it happens pretty quick after they hatch, though, not usually 3 days later. Maybe it was kind of developing and just didn't, it took some time to really present itself like that. It could be a vitamin deficiency. Vitamin E and thiamine are going to be the two vitamins that really make an impact on those. But chances are it's probably just because the bird hatched late. It probably had some developmental problems of some kind because of that. So that's probably what happened with that. I've not had good luck with treating wry neck. Trying to treat splayed leg. I've had marginal success with that. I've been able to, maybe 50% of the time get it corrected. The other 50% of the time it just doesn't work for whatever reason. I end up having to call those birds out usually. Sometimes wry neck will, straighten itself back out, but usually I've not been able to find a way to get that fixed. Again, treating it with some vitamin supplements, that can help. All right, Kathy Hampston says, I'm so happy I got my hand on some pedigree Florida whites, 3 does, $3 from a generous breeder for $10. Nice. What's your thought on the breed? Florida whites make fantastic meat rabbits, so congratulations. It sounds like you got some pretty good breeding stock there. Oh no, Mark says, sitting tonight out, just got diagnosed with the flu. Oh man, take your time there and hopefully you get better soon. I do not want the flu. That is a miserable thing to have. All right. Hannah says, do you drink tea? I do drink tea from time to time, not very often. I'm a soda pop junkie. I drink soda pop. That's what I drink. But occasionally I will drink tea. I don't dislike tea. I don't usually make it at home. It's something I'll have. And I'm, Missouri is almost southern, not quite. But sweet tea is we drink sweet tea here. So if you don't know what sweet tea is, it's not just tea that you put sugar in. It's a little different. But that's the kind of tea that I prefer, actually. I can do just regular iced tea, that's not made like sweet tea. Just enough sugar to take the bitterness out of it to where it's not really sweet, but it's not bitter anymore. I can do that too. All right. Somebody says tea talk, boo. It could be worse. All right. Hannah says, will you be announcing the winners for the free eggs? Yeah, we're going to do that drawing here in just a few minutes. I was giving it till a half hour in to make sure that everybody got in here that was going to be here. Hopefully the person that wins is actually in the live broadcast with us. And then we'll do the drawing. So we got, 2 or 3 more minutes here and I'll do the drawing. All right, Gateness Chicken says, what outdoor temp is too cold for quails? I can't tell you what's too cold for them. Assuming they're full-grown birds. I've had them in, negative Fahrenheit temperatures, -2, -3, -5, I think. I've got viewers that live way up north. It gets very, very cold there, and they keep their birds outside. They do just fine. I don't know that there is a too cold for the quail temperature, assuming, again, you're talking about full-grown birds, and you're not talking about birds that have been kept inside in, 75-degree temperature, and then you plunge them out into, -5-degree temperature. That's a little bit of a drastic change. If they're kept outside all the time, they have time to acclimate to that. They tend to do very, very well, as long as you block them from the wind. As long as you give them a wind block to get out of the wind, it works out pretty well. All right, so King Coop says, what's the pros and cons of getting quail? We were thinking about that idea, but we're still unsure. I don't know too much. I don't know too much just about button quail. Okay. The pros and cons of getting quail. Boy, that's a big topic. The pros are, you get eggs from them. They're very prolific egg layers. You can keep, if you live in the city like I do, I can keep some chickens, but I can't have roosters, so I can't produce my own fertile chicken eggs and incubate them and hatch them out and then have a meat run of chickens. I would have to buy the chickens myself and then raise them up from there. I wouldn't be able to produce them myself, if that makes sense. With quail, I can do that. I can have a quail rooster, so I get fertile eggs. They grow out to butcher size in 8 weeks, so they're very fast turnaround, very fast production. I don't know that there's any downside to them unless you just don't like dealing with the mess or something like that. Big topic. It's hard for me to get into that right now, and we've got a drawing to do, so let's do that real quick here. All right, so excuse me. All right, so we have got it all loaded up on the random comment picker. Here it is right here. We're going to be drawing the winner here. I've already loaded up all the comments. We had the stipulation you had to put hashtag free eggs in your comment in order to be included in the drawing. Some people had a hard time with that. So, some people put hashtag free space eggs, and some people put hashtag space free eggs, and all those different kind of variations of that. And unfortunately, my comment picker is very, very picky on that. So I decided we're just going to run the drawing without choosing the comment, but we'll make sure that whoever it is that wins, it'll display the comment up here. If you don't have hashtag free eggs in some form or another in your comment, well, we're going to pick another winner. And I did that because we're not able to ship overseas right now or any of those kinds of things. I guess there are some options to do that, but this contest is only open to people in the U.S. because of it's a free giveaway and the difficulties of being able to ship overseas and all those kinds of things. So that's why I did that, is to hopefully, last time we did the drawing, we had lots of people saying, "Oh, I'd love to win, but I'm outside of the country," and I tried to make it. Hopefully, I'm getting too detailed about it. You guys just want to know who the winner is. All right, so here we go. I don't know how well you guys can see this. I can't see it very well and pick it at the same time. So we're going to click pick a winner, and here it is. Who it is? It Kelly personal account. Do you have? Yep, you have free eggs in there, and it says I built 2 hutches based off yours. The one outside so far, they're getting progressively better as I learn more building techniques. We've got our first hatch living outside, and the second are just now in the brooder. Want to get a third source of eggs, so we'll start setting up the breeding groups. It's crazy we're able to do this. Well, so far we're just hatching eggs, but still that's new for us. So Kelly, I don't know if I've seen Kelly in here or not. Kelly, it says Kelly personal account. So I don't know if Kelly has another account or not. But anyway, we will make sure that we get a hold of Kelly and get the eggs to Kelly. So congratulations. Guys, I wish I could give everybody that entered free eggs. I would love to be able to do that, but unfortunately, I guess it wouldn't be much of a fun contest if everybody won anyway. But that would be my preference. I would love to do it. I just can't do it, unfortunately. So, all right. Again, thanks everybody for joining in there. Thank you to Hatch Poultry for sponsoring the contest. That's 2 times now we've given away 100 quail eggs to people for free. So very, very nice. Maybe we'll do another one at some point in the future. But again, thank you there, Dawson, at Hatch Poultry for sponsoring that contest. It was great. All right, so back to the comments. Let's see what we can get answered here. All right, Brittany Olson says, Chris, I have a buck silver fox. Have you ever heard of a Rex/silver fox mix? Well, I don't know if you can say I've ever heard of it, but yeah, that you can mix any rabbits together. So I'm pretty sure that I've seen silver foxes mixed with Rex. Says, will their babies have the hybrid vigor you have talked about? Yeah, they should. Hybrid vigor is when you take 2 purebred rabbits, like a purebred silver fox, a purebred Rex, and you breed them together. Then those babies are hybrids of those 2, and they'll have hybrid vigor. So yeah, they'll have the hybrid vigor. They'll probably make pretty good meat rabbits. I don't know if they'll have. You may get a mix. Who knows? Some that are more like the silver fox, some of them are more like the Rex as far as the fur, the coat goes. They should be pretty good meat rabbits. So hopefully that works out well. All right, Iggy the iguana says, if my chicken eats a few eggs, I up the feed for 2 weeks, and that works for me. Hey, there's a good suggestion too. That's a good point. If you're running out of feed, if you're not getting enough feed in there, quail they eat all the time. That's all they do. They eat all the time, and if you run out of food, they panic. If they're out of food for 15 minutes, they tend to panic and start turning on each other like, we're never going to eat again. We're going to eat each other or whatever. So yeah, that's a good point. If you don't have enough feed in there to keep them fed all the time, they may be eating their eggs because of that. All right. Chris Derry Rose Elrod says hello from Arkansas. My neighbor just to the south, not very far from Arkansas here. So hello to you. And Iggy the Iguana is in Oklahoma. That's just right down the road as well. Who knows, you guys, we may all be neighbors. All right. Sunny Reeves says, how's the Kickstarter doing? The Kickstarter launches tomorrow morning. So if you guys are looking for, it's the Kickstarter for the solar light that I have. If you're not familiar with that, it's a solar light with a programmable timer. So you just set it when you want it to come on, set it when you want it to go off, set it up, put the solar panel out, and it comes on and goes off every morning right on time. Excuse me, works very, very well. But again, we got to run Kickstarter to earn the funds to get the bulk order in so I can get that shipped out to everybody. That kicks off tomorrow morning. So if you're interested in that, then make sure you're following the Kickstarter for it. Or I guess I could put a link down here, but I'll send it out tomorrow if you're on the mailing list for that. All right. Tristan says, what age do Japanese quail start to lay fertile eggs? Okay. That's a multi-part question. They start to lay eggs usually 8 to 10 weeks, somewhere right around in there is generally, assuming you got all the factors right, 14 hours a day of light, all that kind of stuff. Now, as far as fertile eggs go, if you've got roosters in with them, they'll start breeding, and I usually give them about 2 weeks after they start laying eggs to consider the eggs fertile at that point. Their very first eggs may not be fertile, but again, they don't just start laying fertile eggs right off the bat. It's about 2 weeks from the time that they start being bred that their eggs are considered fertile and always fertile. So hopefully that makes sense. Usually I would expect them to start laying 8 to 10 weeks, give them about 2 weeks if you've got roosters in with them, then you consider those eggs fertile and mature enough to incubate, and you should be able to go at that point right there. All right. Chase says, I live in Carter County, Tennessee. It's been cold the past few nights, and I have put a heat lamp on my quail. Is that good or not? Well, it depends. I would say probably not the best practice to do. Heat lamps are incredibly dangerous. I prefer not to use them at all. There's a lot of people that, you've had whole barns burned down because of heat lamps and things like that. The other thing is, as long as you've got a good wind block for them, the quail are pretty resilient to the cold. They probably don't need the heat lamp. You may actually be doing more harm than good by putting a heat lamp on them, because what you're doing is giving them an artificial heat source, getting them to where they don't acclimate to the cold. And then if the light goes out, it's inevitably going to do that on a night that's the coldest night of the year or whatever. And then all of a sudden they're plunged into terrible cold that they're not acclimated to, if that makes sense. And I don't know what you're talking about by being cold in Tennessee. I don't know how cold it gets there, but I'm guessing it's probably not quite as cold as what it gets in most other parts of the country. So it's probably not as bad as you think it is my kind of point to that. They do pretty well in pretty cold weather. It's not a huge issue. All right, Gaden's Chicken says, as somebody who dreads butchering day, I'm thinking I might switch to pheasants. More meat, less butchering. Well, that's true. More meat, less butchering, but they're not nearly as prolific as quail or anything like that. You're not going to get as many eggs to hatch. You're not going to get as many birds. It takes longer for them to grow out. It's not a terrible choice necessarily, just as long as you kind of know those things and plan for those things. All right, Lahib wants to know, Hatch Poultry, do you guys have button quails? I'm pretty sure they do. Boy, I got a lot of comments to get through here. I don't know if I'll get through them all tonight. We'll see. All right, Sam Bergeron says, I'm not sure if you covered this, but I was wondering how much I should feed my meat rabbits. I feed Blue Seal 16% protein. 16% protein is a great feed. Really feed them about as much as they'll eat within 24 hours. So that's usually going to be roughly for a full-grown rabbit, 10-pound rabbit, somewhere around, what is it? How many ounces? What is it? 8 ounces? I think it's 10 ounces. I've got a little measuring cup that's about a cup, and I dump that in every day. Watch my rabbits. If the next day, just get a small measuring cup, dump some rabbit feed in there. If they don't eat it all within 24 hours, when it's time to go out and feed them again, feed them just a little bit less the next day. If they eat it all, it's all empty, and when you pour food in there, the first thing you do is just dive in head first like they're starving to death. Give them just a little bit more feed the next day, and you'll figure out in a day or two kind of how much to feed them. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Now, if you're talking about baby grow-outs, like your babies that are growing out, keep their feeder full all the time. Mothers that are nursing babies, if they have a litter, their feeder stays full all the time as well. But every other time, it's just enough pellets, just as much as what they'll clean up in 24 hours. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, TH55269 says, Tristan, mine started laying consistently at 6 weeks. That can happen. It says, hatched from 7th week, 40% hatch rate. Unfortunately, my coop is really close to a nightlight, so that helped with fertility, but they eat like crazy. Oh, yeah, they do, don't they? Popple Backyard Farms has got here late. Well, hey, better late than never, and we're not keeping track. It's okay. King Coupe says, we feed our bunnies a quarter cup of pellets, and the rest is just hay and lettuce and spinach. Yeah, okay. Sometimes we feed them fruit. And quick reminder, Chris, I recommend Timothy-based pellets. What pellets do you use? Well, most pellets are going to be alfalfa-based, but for that reason, I feed a Timothy hay. So, oh, thank you very much, Guidiness. Thank you very much. I'm terrible with name pronunciation, so I'm sorry I got it wrong here. But anyway, as far as Timothy pellets, alfalfa pellets, most of your pellets are going to be alfalfa-based. That's primarily what I use. But I do feed a Timothy hay. It's probably not, if you're going to feed your rabbits hay, they don't necessarily have to have it, but it is a nice thing to add to their diet. But it's probably best to not feed them a Timothy hay, or excuse me, an alfalfa hay and an alfalfa pellet. There can be a little bit of an overload in calcium because of that. So I do like to feed a Timothy hay instead of an alfalfa hay, if that makes sense. All right. Kathy says, Michael Jr., just show your wife some food documents on the major food industries, then tell her about raising rabbits. Hey, there's a good suggestion for that, for sure. All right. Okay, Hatch Poultry does not carry button quail, but they may in the future. All right. Alan says, it's easier to butcher quail after you see them attack a weak quail and mercilessly, that's a hard word for me to say, kill it. They look like cute little fluffy innocent babies, but they are cold-blooded killers. Yes, they are, Alan. You're right about that. They will turn on each other. They can be vicious little things. If they got big, like, bigger than chickens, it might be scary. Robert says, I just got the alert that you were live. Made it in Fulton, New York. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. Jay Folky says, it's almost 1:30 hours, so off to bed, and we'll catch the remainder tomorrow after work. Night all. Well, thanks for joining us, Jay Folky. I appreciate that. You have a good night. And look at that. Hatch Poultry just threw a $10 super chat in here and says, all right, I'm headed out. Congrats to Kelly. Make sure to contact Chris. Thank you, everybody, for participating. We will do more in the future. Use code SlightlyRednecked for 20% off your quail orders. Thanks again, Hatch Poultry, for sponsoring the contest. Thank you for the $10 super chat. And you have a great night, buddy. We will talk to you soon. All right. Osgear says, first time live. Thanks for showing how easy to grow quail. Greetings from Poland. Thank you very much. Well, thanks for watching the videos. I appreciate that. You may be the first viewer from Poland. I'm not sure. Maybe we've had other Polish visitors here, but it's got to be like late night there too. Thanks for joining us for the live broadcast. All right, so what's wrong with Max? Is somebody home? You just want to go out, don't you? Something out there to chase. All right, GM says, other good news. We hadn't gotten eggs due to molting, but we allowed them a rest cycle with the molt. However, once complete, we started the light cycle and got eggs from our first bird hatches. Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when they start molting, they'll stop laying eggs, and that's a pretty good time, you're right, to go ahead and just remove the lights from them. Give them a little bit of a break. Add the lights back on. It only takes them about a week or two to get back into the cycle of laying eggs again once they're done with that. I'm glad to hear things are going well for you. All right, Brian N says, I want to try raising quail. I have chickens now. Well, hey, you're in the right place. We we have lots of quail information here, giving away some free eggs all the time. Not all the time, but a couple of times now we've given away some free eggs. So who knows, maybe you'll get in one of the free drawings eventually and win some eggs. Or just, I always suggest, well, you have chickens now, so you're familiar with raising birds. So yeah, you could start with eggs for sure. If you're brand new to birds, you're not raising them before, I always think it's best to get live birds first to start off with. Then you get your own eggs. You can incubate your own eggs and get experience with it. But anyway, if you do want to order, though, again, Hatch Poultry is offering the 20% discount if you use the code SlightlyRednecked when you check out. So there's a good opportunity for you to order some eggs with 20% off. All right. Amy says, don't drop me. I don't have an incubator. I just bought my first 4 chicks from a local breeder. Okay. Well, Amy, luckily you didn't win. That's weird. Luckily you didn't win, but that's okay. Maybe you'll have an incubator next time we run. All right. Donna says, I'm finding it hard to find a good feed for the quail. Thought game feed, but noticed the plumage kind is what the store had, and it's 12% protein. Oh, yeah, that's rough. Something you can check with Donna on that. Here, grab a drink here. Something you can check with Donna is if your feed store doesn't carry a game bird starter, you might see if they carry a turkey starter. They're almost the same thing. Usually turkey starter is a higher protein as well. 12% is very, very low protein. I would definitely try to get something that's a higher protein. If they don't carry either one of those, talk to the store manager. See if they can order it in for you. Or look and see if you've got a feed store in your area instead of like if you're going to like a Tractor Supply or a farm supply store like that or something. What are you doing, Max? A farm supply store, a Tractor Supply, something like that. It's a little bit more limited than if you go to an actual feed store. And a lot of times the feed stores can order it in. I mean, they've got somebody bringing feed in anyway. They may not just be carrying it because there's not a market for it. But that's how I get my rabbit feed. My feed store that I get my rabbit feed from, I like a 16% pellet for my rabbit. And they don't carry that on a regular basis, but they order it in for me. I just come and pick up. I mean, I'm the only one that buys it. So, you can talk to them and see if they can get that in for you. That might work. Good luck with it. I hope it does work. All right, Peggy says, I just had a quail freeze in 20-degree weather, but it went from 50 to 60 to below freezing in 2 days. Really, you had one freeze. I'll take that back. Sometimes that does happen, but usually in 50 to 60 to 20 degrees, I mean, that's quite a drop, but it's not that much. I wouldn't think that alone. Sometimes if we have drastic temperature changes like that, I will lose a bird, but most of the time that bird was like sick or old or something like that to begin with. So it's not like the cold alone is what killed it. It's just that, that combined with the other problems that it was having, put it out, and, it's probably best that way anyway. It kind of thins out the weak genes or the weak stuff from that. But I'm sorry to hear that you lost one. Usually it's just a one-off. It's just one here or there every great once in a while. All right. Carl Boehm says, we have had some success treating Rednecked with colloidal silver, really. Says in chickens, give a few drops in the mouth a couple of times a day. Interesting. Never tried that myself. That may be something I have to look into. Roger says, missed a few weeks. Thought better check in from New Mexico. I think that is. Thanks, Roger, for joining us. I appreciate that. We weren't keeping track, though. It's okay. We didn't mark you absent. Wolf's Head Forage and Farm says, hey there, everyone. Good evening to you. All right. Where are we at here? There's a bunch of good lucks in the drawing. William says, sorry I have issues. I'm in lockdown with the quail eggs, and I had a little smell in the incubator. I want to give it a chance, but I am able to take the time to clean and start over. Uh-oh. I think we were talking about that earlier with the, you think you may have a bad egg in your incubator. Yeah, if it smells bad, I would go through there and try to figure out which egg is the bad one and try to get it out of there, because that is a bacteria issue, and it can really affect the rest of your hatch too. But, like you said, if you've got time, you want to just let the hatch go, see if they hatch, then, you can do that too. All right. Jeff says, hi, Chris. I have a problem. I have one male, 4 hens, and the biggest hen I have wants to grab the male by the head all of a sudden and has drawn blood on his head. Had them in for 2 months, no problems. That happens sometimes, and a lot of times it seems to be the hens that just suddenly turn on them and just become aggressive as can be. If you're not anxious to get them to breed right now and get fertile eggs out of them, you can try reducing the light for a while. Get it down to below 10 hours a day, and that'll kind of put them a little bit more dormant, a little bit calmer. They won't be nearly as aggressive usually. You may have to identify that aggressive hen and call her out. She may be just too aggressive for some reason. I wish I had better suggestions than that, but that's pretty much what you're stuck with most of the time. All right. Chaz Hess says, I'm skipping through all the congrats to Kelly comments and stuff like that. You guys don't need me to respond to every one of those. That's why it's taking me a minute here. Chaz says, just started watching your channel. Appreciate your channel and the glory to the Lord. Well, thank you so much, Chaz. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're finding the videos helpful. And yeah, I do. I am a firm believer. I am a Christian, and I don't have a problem professing my faith. So I know that not everybody that watches is a Christian, but that's okay. We can have our differences, and that's fine. I am. So Brian says, looks like I will have to order quail eggs. Congratulations, Kelly. Yeah, Brian, sorry you didn't win. Um, Lauren wants more giveaways. Kim says, we had our Copernicus quail for 3 weeks. They started breeding and crowing, but no eggs yet. Any hints? Your roosters are going to be more sensitive to that than your hens are. It doesn't take as much light to get your roosters crowing, especially if they're just hitting age, as it does for the hens to lay eggs. So light is the biggest thing. They got to have 14 hours a day of light pretty consistently in order to lay. So that would be my first thing to look for. 3 weeks though, I mean, if you just got them and you just moved them in, they're adult birds, then it takes 2 weeks or so for them to get over the stress of being moved. Again, your roosters get over it much quicker, but it takes your hens about 2 weeks, sometimes 3, before they get over the stress of being moved to start laying again. So you might just have to give them a little bit of time. Chances are, I mean, at 3 weeks, that's about it's about the high end of the time you have to wait for them to start laying again after some kind of stress. And moving is stressful for them. So you might just give them a little bit more time. You're probably going to have eggs anytime now. All right. Their messiness and food consumption will help. GM says that. Their messiness and food consumption will help. I think that's, oh my gosh, Lars is here and just threw 200 Danish, I can't remember what they're called, Danish money at me, which is like $30 American money. Thank you so much, Lars. He does this all the time. Such a very generous person there. I appreciate that. And never has anything, just throws the money. Never has any comment he needs answered or anything. Just comes in here, joins us, says hi, and then throws some money at me. Very nice of you. Thank you. GM says their messiness and food consumption will help. I think he's talking about butchering quail, how you think they're so cute now. He says as they get older, their cuteness fades. All right. Hatch Poultry says, hopefully Kelly sees the broadcast after, as I don't think she's in here. Well, no, she probably isn't, but I can go back and find the comment and respond to her and let her know. All right. Iggy says, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that hybrid thing. I have a Flemish and I'm mixing them with Texas A&M composite. I want a pretty composite Flemish. Well, hey, good luck with that. Hopefully that works out. But yeah, the hybrid vigor is a real thing. They tend to be babies from two purebred animals, and it's not just in rabbits and in most animals. Two purebred animals, you cross them, and that's a hybrid that they have, and those tend to be less, more disease resistant, have less health problems, just more vigorous. I mean, just everything seems to be a little bit better with them usually. All right, Amy Houston says, I'm new to quail, and you have the most informative channel. Thanks. I adore my first 4 chicks. They are for pets and eggs. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate that. And nothing wrong with raising them for pets either. Don't get mad at us that eat them. But thanks for joining the channel. I'm glad you're finding the videos helpful. All right, Wolf's Head Forage and Farm says, I'm having one heck of a time putting holes in the plastic containers. Are you using a Dremel? The plastic, oh, you're talking about probably my feeders. What I use most of the time is just my pocket knife. It doesn't have to be a perfect hole. If you're talking about the holes in the feeders where you put a hole in there for them to stick their head through and eat, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfectly round. Just cut a hole out. I just use my pocket knife usually. Just cut a hole out. That's how I do it. So, I mean, sometimes I crack the container or something, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, did you bonk your head there, Max? All right, what's wrong, buddy? What's wrong? He wants to be on camera tonight. Say hi, buddy. Say hi. All right, off. All right, Boris says, hey, Kelly, can you borrow a few eggs for breakfast? Oh, can you borrow a few eggs for breakfast tomorrow? Oh, no, your heat lamp burnt down your doghouse. But the dogs are okay, so I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, heat lamps can be incredibly dangerous. And you raise pheasants and you love it. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. All right. Oh, no, I've got to pronounce your name again. Godiness? I've forgotten how to pronounce it already. Hopefully I got it close. It says, you do, James? Oh, talking about Max, you're knocking things over, buddy. Move. Move. All right. I've got lights here that shine on me so that I'm not in the dark the whole time. And Max is, I don't know. Max, come here. Get back. No, come. Back. Back. Good. Down. There you go. Good boy. He's all nervous tonight for some reason. I don't know what's going on. All right, where are we at here? How are we doing on time? Couple minutes left here. Let's see. Savage Gaming says, good evening. Great to see you, man. Good to see you, too. Thanks for joining us. James says, sometimes they do put blinders on them. On what? Sometimes they do put blinders on them. If so, I have 20 right now. Only one has blinders on. Oh, you're responding to the other. Okay. It says, do you find that they fight each other? Talking about pheasants fighting each other, or is it find a cage a lot together? Okay. Makes sense. Now I get it. All right. JLife4 says, hey, Chris, do I have to turn the quail eggs? Don't have an egg turner. They do need to be turned, but it's not that big of a deal if you don't have an egg turner. Just open up the incubator and roll the eggs around once or twice a day. Close it back up. That's all you got to do. It's not that big a deal. Twice a day is probably best. Do it once in the morning, once in the evening. Don't roll them around that vigorously. Not like that, but just roll them around a little bit so they're turned a little. That's all you got to do. Or you could just tilt your incubator a little bit. So, you don't want to, tilt it so much that they're all rolled to the front, all rolled to the back. But you can put something under the back of it so it sets, like this. Maybe not that aggressive in an angle. But then just flip it, set it like that in the evening. Set it like that in the, just like back and forth. It'll be fine. It's not that big of a deal, but they do need to be turned a little bit and rolled a little bit around. Keeps them from sticking to one side of the eggshell and developing that way. Up until lockdown. At lockdown, you stop turning them. All right. Joyce says, my rabbits love straw. Do they get a benefit from straw? Straw's not bad for them. It's not the best thing to give them because straw is, hay still has all the seed heads and all that kind of stuff attached. Straw does not have all that attached. So it's kind of a empty food in a sense, but it still is long fiber. So it's pretty good for their digestion, all those kinds of things. It's just not the most nutritionally complete thing. But if they eat a little bit of it, it's fine. It's not going to hurt them. All right. Hannah wants to know if I've ever been to Maine. I have never been to Maine. No, that's one of the places I've not made it to yet. Randy made it. Hello to you, Randy. Osgear says it's 2:45 a.m. Good grief. Thanks for staying up late or getting up early, whichever it is. King Coupade says, have you ever thought about making show rabbits? We have rabbits for show and sell them for pets or show, but I usually don't try to give them to bad breeders. We have a breeder that kept Flemish giants in Rubbermaid buckets, and now he's locked up for animal abuse. One of my Flemish was the victim. The poor guy died because there was no air. He kept them in 5-gallon in Rubbermaid buckets. That's a terrible place to keep them. No, I've never thought about raising show rabbits. It's not my deal. I raise them for food. That's what I'm about, not for show. So I can't help you with show rabbits, unfortunately. But it sounds like you know quite a bit about them. Yeah, that's raising them in Rubbermaid tubs is not a good way to raise meat rabbits. That bad. So, all right, or any kind of rabbit for that matter. All right, G. Michael says, how many birds and rabbits do you keep in the freezer on a regular basis? Well, as many as I can. Right now, let's see, I don't have very many. Right now, I probably got like 5 or 6 rabbits left and maybe a dozen or so quail. I'll probably eat up the quail, and I've got some I need to process, so that'll add to it. I probably got about at least a dozen more or so that I need to process. I'll probably do that this weekend and get them ready and use all that up on Super Bowl Sunday. That's my plan anyway. We'll see. What's the best way to cook quail? Oh boy, you can cook them a number of different ways. One of my favorite ways is what I'll probably do for Super Bowl Sunday is make little poppers out of them. So cut the breast meat off the bone, so you'll end up with two halves of the breast, and then you can kind of you can put like a piece of blue cheese in there, roll that up inside the half of the breast, wrap it with some bacon, brush it down with some like Frank's Red Hot buffalo wing sauce, and bake that until the bacon's done. and they're very, very good. That's one of my best. That's one of my favorite ways to do it. James Ingalls says butter, salt, and pepper, and fry, and that's pretty good too. All right, guys, we got to start wrapping this up. We are past an hour. I got to go spend some time with the family. Somebody wants to know, who is that? Dylan wants to know if a non-forced air incubator works for quail. Yeah, you can use a non-forced air incubator. Forced air is better, but you can use a non-forced air incubator. All right, I got to quit looking at the comments. I'll keep talking all night long, and I got to go to work tomorrow, so I got to get this wrapped up, go spend some time with the family before it's time to go to bed, get up and do it all over again. But tomorrow is Friday, so thank you guys so much for watching tonight. Thanks for joining. God bless each and every one of you, and hopefully we'll see you guys again here next week. Take care, and good night.